Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Filthy Truth. It has been a hot minute that I've taken some time to kind of just get back to Canada, readjust to weather in Canada, because holy crap, there's a lot of snow to take all in one shot and not to get used to it over time. And of course, last week was my daughter's birthday on Tuesday. So, super important that we took some time for the family and to enjoy that. And of course, because we're the unvaxxed coming back to a country that doesn't seem to like all its citizens, we are still under lock and key until Thursdays. And I say lock and key. Yeah, that's the quarantine whole thing. So I had a lot of text messages. I had a lot of messages on Instagram, a lot of people reaching out, welcoming me back to Canada. Some people weren't happy I was back, not going to lie. I also had some text messages saying I should have stayed in Mexico. I agree. I should have stayed in Mexico. But at last, we are back with a refocus on Filthy Truth. We are refocused on bringing wellness and health back into people's lives. Making health great again is huge, and that is what we want to talk about. But before I get into all of that, I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors, which is Resistance Coffee. Of course, if you guys head over to resistancecoffee.com/filthy truth, y'all are going to see that you can get a 10% discount on some really, really good tasting coffee. We're going to have a giveaway on that, but you're going to have to be following me on the Instagram account to get that. So making sure that y'all are following me on Instagram if you guys want a chance of winning a free bag of Resistance coffee. All right. So Alex, I'm not sure if you have that. There you go. There's the Filthy Truth. And if you can, after that, if you can put up the Instagram tag, that would be great. So go ahead and do that. And then, of course, if y'all are looking for a kick-ass supplement, if you guys are looking for a great protein, if you guys are looking for anything that comes to, when it comes to health, we're with First Form. So, go out and I will make sure to get you guys that link at some point so that you guys can get some really good supplements as well. Okay. So let's talk about coming back to Canada. This was a whirlwind in itself. Like, I'm telling you, the hurdles we had to jump just to come back into Canada unvaccinated was a shit show. So it all started off with we weren't actually sure we were going to come back with Trudeau and the NDP coalition. They made it pretty bleak at one point, thinking we were probably going to be in Mexico till the end of April, even beginning of May, pending on, if the Emergencies Act was still going to be invoked. We were watching the news very, very closely. Probably, I'm going to say for a week there, we were literally watching everything on CPAC. We were watching the debates unfold. We were watching what Trudeau was saying unfold. And it was a moment where we kind of felt a little bit despair and almost like a realization, well, we should probably look at doing some temporary residencies in Mexico because we weren't sure if there was going to be much of a country for the unvaxxed to come back to. So we started the process of looking into it, but we ended up watching the day where they decided to lift the Emergencies Act. And as much as we hated Trudeau, we really cheered because, my kids really wanted to come home and see their family. I really wanted to get back to my dogs and, of course, see my mom and my sister and my nephews, of course. And then, I was thinking about my other kids and how they wanted to come back to go to school and to kind of really just kind of be normal teenagers, right? With that being said, I've been watching Stephenson here in Manitoba and how she was lifting the mandates. How funny the science changed with the truckers convoy. How funny the science changed when everybody started to realize what was actually happening. How funny is it that the Canadian frontline nurses were taking Trudeau and the government to court for freezing accounts, and then everything changed in a heartbeat. So we all know, of course, that there's always a bigger story behind the scenes. We all knew that they were gearing up the Russia-Ukraine thing. We all know that that's going to be the driving force behind a lot of things, but is beside the point. We wanted to get back home. We weren't sure what kind of home we were coming back to, but we really did want to come back here. And we really wanted, like, we are Canadian citizens at the end of the day. We are proud to be Canadian. And, and we fight for the little guys. So the journey begins with but because we can only fly or find a direct flight from Mexico to Winnipeg, because if we took a connecting flight to Calgary, we weren't able to come back home because you can't fly in the country. If we were to take a plane to Toronto, we had to rent cars to come back. And we were 10 plus a baby, like, and a shit ton of gear. Like, it wasn't going to be cheap to do any of that. So we had to look high and low, and we found direct flights from Swoop, from Puerto Vallarta. So we're in Mazatlan. Mazatlan is a 7.5 hour bus ride to Puerto Vallarta. And yeah, that was a journey in itself. I'll get there in a second. So we book all our trip. We book everything out. We had to leave Tuesday night. We had to leave Mazatlan Tuesday night because our bus was overnight. We figured that this was the easiest way. Get overnight was going to save us a little bit of hotel time. So we get in at the bus station, at the bus depot. Nobody's really giving a shit about their mask. Nobody cares if you're wearing it or not. The bus depot in Mexico, I'm going to say this. If you think the ones in Canada are raunch, yeah, the one in Mexico was pretty raunch as well. The funniest thing, though, was I love how we have Greyhounds here, Greyhound buses, and in Mexico, they have Chihuahua buses. Not even kidding you. I have pictures to prove it. So it was quite funny to see that. So there was no direct flights from Mazatlan. We had to drive down to Puerto Vallarta. So now we're on the bus. It's 11 o'clock at night. We're exhausted. And I don't know if you guys have ever been in Mexico or have driven in the side streets of Mexico or in the back country of Mexico. The roads are about this wide and the drivers don't give a shit. They just go and it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what the roads look like. It could be a cliff right there. They don't care. So I managed to fall asleep. I slept somewhat okay in the bus. It somewhat okay in the bus. But you did feel the odd jerking around and people were, it was a rough ride. We get to Puerto Vallarta the next day. We have to take a PCR or a COVID test. We couldn't get out of it. We tried, we looked into it. We couldn't get out of it. Swoop wouldn't allow you on the plane if you didn't have proof of a negative test. They wouldn't let you on. So after a night of being in a bus, we get to our hotel room. We leave all our bags and everything in there. We go for breakfast because now everybody's just like about to rip each other's heads off because we're all starving. So we get to the restaurant in a hotel. We scarf down a bunch of food. We get up and we walk over, which the COVID site was just literally across the street from our hotel room. So we get to it's an okay. Now I'm gonna paint this picture because I kind of got into it with the guy. And I think maybe I was very tired and I was very annoyed. And I was also really worried about what we were coming back home to. Okay. Because at that point, I had already gotten a few text messages saying, we don't fucking want you back. Stay in Mexico. This is coming from Winnipeg freedom fighters. Just going to put that out there. So thank you guys for
fuck those douchebags.
So they made my decision of not being involved in the rallies or the freedom fights here in Manitoba very, very easy when I got messages like that. So we go into the COVID testing set. Now I'm serious. This is outside in some parking lot across the street from our hotel room. They had those white canopy tents, and they had the white canopy tents, and then the guy's like, you have to put a mask on to be here. And I'm like, it is plus 30. We're all sweating balls. Your mask is soaked from sweat. And you want me to put a mask on? And I said, and we're outside. So yeah, he made us put a mask on. Okay. But in Mexico, your mask on is as long as it's under your chin, it's going to save your life. So whatever. So I put it on underneath my chin. And then we give them all our information, and then we go to get this. We ended up doing a rapid antigen test. We didn't actually have to do a PCR test. The Swoop Airlines allowed us to do a rapid antigen, which was, I guess, a little bit better than PCRs. I don't know. PCRs, you have to wait 72 hours. This rapid antigen test, you had to wait 20 minutes, and we got it in 20 minutes. Um, Now, there were 2 nurses, and I say nurses loosely. They probably watched a 1-hour video on how to give this test and then said, "Okay, that's good enough. Here's your certificate. You are now qualified to shove this piece of Q-tip up people's noses." The one nurse was super kind, super gentle, was very, very delicate with how she whatever did with the thing. I did not have that nurse. I had the other one. Now, if you ever like watch those like Adam Sandler movies where you get like the really, really hot nurse, and then you get like Bertha nurse. I had the Bertha nurse, okay? She takes this test and she's like, "You have to relax your nostril." And I'm like, I am very much trying to relax. Um, and then you have to tilt your head back. I'm not even kidding you, shoves this thing in so far that I started coughing. Now, I don't know how far that went, but her fingers were almost touching my nostril at that point, and it was about that long. Anyways, my nose was leaking uncontrollably. It felt super raw. It was disgusting what was coming out of my nose. And I kind of looked at her and I was like, I think you went a little bit too far. And of course, the English isn't that great. She basically just told me to get up and go. And then my other son ended up having the same one, but everybody else lined up for the little hot nurse that was trying to be super kind and gentle. So everybody ended up having her, but we 2 of us had the rough one. We get our test back. Of course, everything's negative because, nobody's sick. It's like summertime in Mexico. Everybody's fine. Everybody's okay. And so we get our negative results, and we actually didn't even have a game plan if one of us came back positive. That's how confident we were. And I mean, at this point, too, everybody was like, 2 to 4 vitamin C's a day, 2 vitamin D's, take your shirt off, go stand outside for 30 minutes at noon. Like, we were pumped full of supplements, and we had been pumping for about 2 weeks, making sure that everybody was going to pass that test. Everybody did. So we enjoyed the day. It was way hotter in Puerto Vallarta than it was in Mazatlan, like way hotter. I couldn't believe how much hotter it was. So we really soaked it up. We really enjoyed our time in Puerto Vallarta. It's a beautiful city. I really wish we would have had more than a day to kind of walk around and see, but we stayed at a hotel that's like part of the, I guess, main outdoor mall that they have there. Now I can't remember the name of it offhand, but it was a really cool mall. So anyways, we really, it was a pretty cool experience to be able to hang out in Puerto Vallarta for the little bit. Our plane left super early the next day, so at 8 o'clock in the morning, we had to our plane was boarding, which means we had to be at the airport for 5. Thank God we were, because we're 11 people, and to check in 11 people takes about an hour and a half. And it was about an hour and a half by the time we got all our bags checked. Then we had a little bit of complications with one of the things, which it's not my story to tell, so I won't get too much into it. But everything got ironed out when we got there. Again, nobody really cares if you're wearing your mask or not, so we all had our chin straps on. Most of the time we were drinking a coffee, so it was off our faces. As long as we had a coffee, nobody bothered you. We get into the plane. Now, we don't know what kind of plane this was, because the flight we had in Aero Mexico. So not necessarily from from Cancun to Mexico City, but from Mexico City to Mazatlan. They were mask Nazis. Like, they were like, if you got caught with your mask even underneath your nose, like, they were yelling Spanish at you. Like, if you didn't know what they were like, we didn't know what they were saying half the time, but we knew that they were mad, and they would always do like that motion. But I had a baby on my hip, so I was pretty lucky that my mask was off most of the time. As long as I held that baby, it was fine. So flying back with Swoop was actually ridiculously awesome. Now, I have to give them props, because that flight was not only super smooth all the way, but the staff was amazing. They didn't push the mask if you were walking around with it completely off, they may have been like, hey, you got to at least make it look like you're wearing one. They didn't care. If I had my water like this, my mask was off. I could have held this water for an hour and a half, and I probably did. And I didn't wear my mask. And then I was eating food and I was eating peanuts. So I'd take one peanut at a time, making sure I was eating so that I didn't have to.
I was going to say it was probably like one peanut or one pretzel and just
one peanut at a time. And then I made sure to chew it all up, swallow my water. And then, of course, we had the coffees and stuff like that on the flight. So it was really, really cool. If you had your hood on and you were pretending to sleep too, they didn't really come and bug you about anything. So it was actually, I got to give Swoop a lot of props, and their staff were really, really cool. Like, they were nice. They weren't even themselves necessarily wearing their masks all the time either. So I don't know if I was allowed to say that, but Swoop, you guys were awesome. So thank you for getting us from Mexico.
They were in international airspace, no laws in international airspace.
Exactly.
Good. They were
good. All good. They did a great job. When we landed in this is the funny part. Now we're flying over and it's like gorgeous. You see the ocean and you see the mountains and you see like Mexico. If you guys have never gone, is probably one of the prettiest countries I've ever seen. And I love Canada. I think Canada is a beautiful country, but this is like second to none. I fell in love with that place hardcore, and I will make sure to make my way back there this winter as well. But you can literally see the seasons changing as we were flying. So we were flying, and I don't exactly know where we were flying over. I just know that all of a sudden it wasn't green and lush anymore. It was brown. Then it was brown and white. Then it was just fucking white. And then it was a lot of white. So when we were starting to land, we were like looking, because you can see the outskirts of the city of Winnipeg. And when we were landing, like there was this car wreckage yard, and we couldn't see the cars. We could only see the hoods of the car. And we're like, oh my God, how much snow fell in Winnipeg this year? Like, we couldn't believe our eyes. It was like puffs and mountains of snow. And we saw where all the where the city would put, I guess, all the snow that they were clearing from the streets. And we couldn't believe it. Like, you literally saw everyone who was sitting at an aisle seat like that was within our group, and we're like, and we'd look at each other and we'd be like, and then the sadness hit and the reality of, I have a tank top underneath my hoodie. I thank God I had my running shoes on, and I'm wearing like 3/4 length sweatpants. This is gonna be cold. And of course, we landed on one of the colder days. I think it was like -26 when we landed. It was absolutely ridiculous. It was crazy. It was absolutely bonkers. And then when you get to the airport, I got to give my props too, because I wasn't sure. And I think this is where our nerves were really kicking in, because we didn't know what the Winnipeg airport was going to be like. We didn't know what the security was going to look like. We didn't know how the what the hell are they called again? The security officers that let you into, come on, the border crossing guys. That's the word for them. Anyways, we weren't sure how they were going to react to us. I happened to get one of the coolest ladies that I think I think I knew her from somewhere in the past. So when I landed, she was like, "Oh my goodness, you've been in Mexico for a long time." She's like, "Welcome to the land of snow, where it's going to suck for you for probably a week. And this is what you're going to have to do. So you're unvaxxed." So she marks big UV on this piece of paper. Like, talk about being branded. So I get this big UV with a circle, and then she's like, "Okay, you just have to go over there because you're not vaxxed, and you just have to, go talk to the public nurse." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So now everybody's kind of behind me. They've kind of gotten their own, customs officer. Thank you. And they're doing their customs, and so me and my kids go to the public health nurse, and I give her this piece of paper. And it's got this big UV ×3, because me and my 2 kids, we were all 3 unvaxxed. And she didn't notice the big, branding of unvaxxed letter on there. And she was literally the nicest person until she realized that it said UV. Now at this point, I'm talking to her. My mask had completely I wasn't even wearing it properly in the airport, but it was underneath my nose at that point because I was talking. It had fallen underneath my chin. When she found out we were unvaxxed, do you ever remember those like He-Man or Skeletor kind of toys where you could like punch them and like their faces would change? And like it'd be like all smiley and then it would like turn super evil. Yeah, it was in a heartbeat. She literally transformed and she's like, "You need to put your mask on and stand 6 feet behind that line." And I was like, "I've literally been here for 5 minutes talking to you and now you're going to push me." So, anyways, she completely flipped her script when she found out we were unvaxxed. She was the only one that we dealt with and kind of enraged us a little bit. But whatever, it was what it was. Then we go to the public nurse and we asked her, like, what if we refuse the test? Now, remember, we're 10 people. We really don't want to be starting anything. We don't want to be battling stuff. But the girl was like, listen, if you have this as a negative test, and this is the public nurse that's saying this, if you have two back to back, because now we had the one from Puerto Vallarta, and if this one turns out negative, you guys don't have to quarantine. That's what she's told us. So we were like, okay, fine, whatever. Like we know it's going to be negative because what's changed in 24 hours. And so we go and get the test done. Way better. Yeah, there you go. That's the one. That's the one where if you hit it, it changes the face color and it gets like angrier and meaner and more evil. Yeah. So we go and take the test, and of course, we get the email back the next day. It's negative. So now, according to the public health nurse that we dealt with, we didn't have to quarantine anymore. So we didn't go far if we did leave the house. But if we did stay home, we were also at home for 14 days. So yeah. So that was literally, we're coming up on 2 weeks. So 2 weeks ago, we left Mazatlan to go to Puerto Vallarta. In 2 days, we've literally been back in Winnipeg for 2 weeks. And it has been, the first week, I'm going to say, was very, very difficult in transition because not only did we have to change houses and we moved houses and we had everything here and getting our dogs, which was super emotional, seeing, the kids seeing their family. It was really, really emotional. It was kind of a whirlwind. But I have to say that the travel experience, a lot of people have been asking me, and I just kind of been blowing it off until I came on the show to do it live, just so that I could tell it one time instead of, 40 different text messages that I got. I have to say that it was very, very wonderful. The people were very, very kind. Swoop, I have to give them props. They were amazing. I don't know if you guys have had a bad experience with them, but they were amazing to fly with. They were amazing in not being a mask Nazi. And to the customs officers at when we landed, you guys were fantastic. And thank you so much for making our process so much easier. Because at that point, it had been quite the journey. We were pretty exhausted. We were pretty spent. We didn't know what we were coming back home to. And we have to say that the test at the airport was also a rapid antigen test. So we didn't have any PCR tests. No PCR test was needed. The rapid antigen test is actually just supposed to go right into the nostril. It's actually not supposed to pass that nostril point. So in Winnipeg, these were real nurses and they just swooped in your nose. It tickled. It was like somebody sticking a feather in your nose. That's exactly what it felt like. And then of course we made sure to supplement. I took a little bit of silver and I kind of wiped it in my nose in case there was anything in there. And I just made sure to detox a little bit from that, making sure I stayed on top of my water, make sure that I took some extra vitamins. And it took about a week for my nose to get better. From the nurse that really hurt it. It was this one here. And in Winnipeg, they're supposed to go out of both nostrils. I wouldn't let them go out of this one. That's how bad it was. That's how sore it was this nostril was just raw. So they only took it out of one. And it was negative. Everybody came back negative. And according to that public health nurse, we didn't have to quarantine, though I do believe that we all did. So yeah, so it was a really cool experience, guys. We know now of a few places that will let you drive through out of Canada into the US. Of course, they're going to be some of the red states. We also know how to apply for temporary residency. One of us in our group got it. It was approved for it. So now the next time I go out there, I will also be applying for temporary residency. And then after I get approved, my kids will automatically get approved. And then it's just paying the fine or the fee to get it done. It's super easy. It's super easy process. You just got to get somebody who speaks Spanish, reads Spanish, and writes in Spanish. And you guys are golden. It's very, very easy to apply and to get approved for a.
You can pay a translator to do that.
We have lots of friends. We had some amazing friends out there. I actually just texted one of them and I shot him a picture of the snow and he's like, that's disgusting. And then he sent me a picture of the beach and I told him to go fuck himself. So no, it was great. It was amazing. It was one hell of a winter. And to everybody here in Canada that held the line and still fought, and everybody in the US that's standing the line and is fighting, that's amazing. I'm so happy that we have so many more people coming on our side of things. But this is what happened in the transition. With the few text messages that I got that's from some freedom fighters here in Winnipeg that said I should have stayed in Winnipeg or in Mexico. It really shifted me.
Should we call her out by name on air? Say fuck you guys?
No, I think it just a good old. It doesn't matter at this point. It was a bit of an eye opener to how quick people are, there to support you and how quick they are to cut you down the second they think that you're whatever. We had an opportunity to leave for Mexico. If anybody tells me that they would have had the same opportunity and they would have turned them down, I would call them a liar to their face, because it was one hell of an opportunity. We were so blessed in the moment to be able to go. We had an amazing experience. I reconnected with my children. I reconnected with myself. I reconnected to my higher power. I reconnected to what made me me, which was fitness and everything that I needed to kind of reawaken myself into what I needed to do. So that's why I say when I'm still going to talk the talk and fight the fight, but I'm going to do it in a very, very different way. We're going to do it through fitness. We're going to do it through wellness. We're going to do it through health. And because that's what they're coming for. They're coming for your health. They're coming for your wellness. They want you sick. They want you overweight. They want you broken. And they want you just completely decrepit and dependent on them. And when we fight back with wellness and health and being like super beings, because we work out every single day, and we take our supplements and we make sure we're on top of our vitamin D and our vitamin C's and all that, we win, right? We keep our health. And that's the one thing that they cannot take. They cannot take your health if you do not let them. This one question here: how did I leave Canada without being vaccinated? Before November 1st, you were allowed to leave anywhere and not be vaccinated. So we left before Trudeau brought in the you cannot get on a plane, you cannot get on a train, you cannot get on a whatever. On a bus, you can't take a bus in Canada. That was the other thing. You couldn't take a bus, you couldn't take a train, and you couldn't take a plane. So we left the country before we had to get the vaccine, or before the vaccine shot was mandatory to fly. So we were out of the country from October 21st. October 21st or 22nd, I can't remember. And we got back March 13th. Yeah, give or take a few days there. So that's how we got in and out. So yeah, I mean, you can still get out of the country. I think people are so wound up on the fact that they can't leave that they don't actually see how they can actually leave. You can leave. You just have to be willing to jump through a few hoops to get out. You have to be like us. We had to be willing to drive in a bus for 8 hours in the middle of the night in Mexico so that we could fly straight home. Like, you got to get uncomfortable. You have to be a little bit uncomfortable. And I think that when you can get a little bit uncomfortable and you really kind of go through the hoops a little bit, you really do become kind of adventurous that way. And you kind of just end up having a little bit more fun. How can you go to Mexico next winter without Mexico is not asking anybody to be vaccinated. If you want to go to Mexico, get out of Canada and fly from the States. Get out of Canada and drive down. That's how I think I want to go down the next, because we actually ran into this Canadian.
I want to drive with you. I'm down.
Yeah,
gonna
that's
take
gonna be
that
one hell of a
drive.
trip. We ran
Hell
into a
yeah.
Canadian, and we were sitting at this. It's a place called Friends Diner, and it was one of our kind of our local hangouts that we ended up going to. It was a Canadian woman that owned it actually, and she
Oh,
was from
nice.
Saskatchewan, and she was telling us all these stories about all this stuff. But we ended up missing or meeting this one gentleman, this older gentleman. He was amazing, and he was telling us how he drives down every single year and he stops in like he'll drive right to Las Vegas. He'll stay in Vegas at the trailer parks there in outside of Vegas for a couple weeks, and he drives down to Arizona, and then he drives down to New Mexico. Then he stays just past the border. He's like, there's this little town, and I can't remember the name of this little town just past the border. Stays there for a week or two. Then he comes right to Mazatlan, and they have this huge trailer park that's just outside of Stone Island, or that's in Stone Island. Now, if you don't know what Stone Island is, when you go to Mazatlan, go to Stone Island. You will fall in love. I promise you, you
Isn't
will
that
fall
with
in love
those
with the beach that's
heads?
there.
The
Hey?
big heads on the island. That's what the one with the big heads?
No, it's just a
No,
bunch of
no, no.
rocks. Yeah, it's just a
Oh.
bunch of rocks everywhere. And it is just super, super nice. But yeah, guys, no, you don't have to be jabbed to get into the States. Yeah, you have to be jabbed in certain states to get through. But there are some border officers that are going to be like, okay, have a good day. Come on through. So you just have to make sure that you know where you're going. So we're still working on getting all the border crossing details down, but we do have a couple of people that we know and how to get down there. There is always a way out. You just have to be willing to look and dig for those ways out. But that was my trip to Mexico, guys. It was amazing. But we got to get healthy and we need somebody to tell you guys the truth about this stuff because the health is what's going to carry you through this. And I'm going to tell you that in my transitions in Mexico, I ended up doing 75 hard, which if you guys are following me, you guys all know that. And the 75 hard, I, without really even trying, lost 10 pounds. Didn't really know I had 10 pounds to lose. I thought maybe 5, but yeah, I dropped down to 10 pounds. And through that, really found a fire
You were only
to
10 pounds. You better eat a cheeseburger or you're going to die.
no, I dropped 10 pounds. So now I'm at the weight that I'm kind of comfortable at. But I started phase 1 today for 75 hard, and that's going to allow me to drop another 5 pounds. My goal is 145, so that I can try to get myself doing things like muscle ups. That is a goal while building some strength and some core. But what I wanted to share here with you guys, Alex, can you share that screen, please, where it says the wellness? There you go. This is
I
really
can
what I
share
wanted.
anything.
Thank
I
you.
can share it all.
This is what I want you guys to kind of take a look at. This is what they're coming for. They're coming for wellness. Your wellness roof is held by 3 pillars. Your 3 pillars are physicality, emotional, and spirituality. If you're missing one of these pillars in your life, you will have a hard time being all around well. You will have a hard time with your foundations because you can see where the cracks would happen. So if you're not physically doing well, you're probably not emotionally doing well because your fitness and your mindset literally marriage together. And if you're not really caring about your physicality and your mindset is shit, you're probably blaming a lot of things, which means you're out of whack with your spirituality. Okay. So to hold up the roof of wellness, you really need to focus on all 3 things. Now, this is from a training of mine called I think this is the Kickstart My 90 one. But this is on actually, if you guys go to What the Health Winnipeg WPG and join that group, you guys will see this training on there. And it is so vital that we need to do this because they have waged a war on our spirituality as well, right? They're making it so that God is like almost taboo. They're making it so that your universal interest is not real. They're really breaking down your spirit. The rule of Satanism and all that's going around the world right now and the negativity. That's what's really winning. Because everybody's so glued to their fucking cell phones that they don't really see what's actually happening to themselves. You lose yourself in a world of cell phones. So what you need to do is you need to clean up your cell phone. So what we're going to do is we'll quickly just talk about things to clean up your 3 pillars. So if you're going to start off with spirituality, the first thing you want to do is clean up what you follow on social media. Number 2, emotional. If you guys are finding yourself more depressed, if you guys are finding yourself more down in the dumps, if you guys are finding yourself to be in a harder position and harder to look for things to look forward to, like you don't really have things to look forward to, then what you need to do is you need to start incorporating physical, which means go outside for a walk. 45 minutes a day for a walk will increase your physicality and your mental state. Just like that. It automatically changes because you're moving your body, which means you're allowing things to process. When you're allowing things to process, you probably will walk faster. So that means you get your heart rate up. And those three things are kind of the equivalent of what we really need to see happen. Now, this is the other one that I wanted to show you guys was something that I was just talking about with somebody the other day. And mindset, nutrition, and fitness. Mindset is your whole base of everything when it comes to health. Mindset is your whole physical, your whole emotional, your whole basis of everything that you're going to do in your life, whether you're going to have a chocolate bar or not, whether you're going to order and eat a whole pizza or not, whether you're going to drink a whole 2-6 or not, whether you're going to work out or not, whether you're going to go for a walk or not, whether you're going to, drive to the store down the street just to go get a whatever. Mindset drives all of that. So we need to marriage mindset with fitness. And as you marriage mindset and fitness, and I understand that fitness is at the top of the pillar, but you marriage those two and your nutrition automatically kicks in. And that's what I really wanted to talk about, because not everybody talks about these physicality things, and not everybody understands that this is going to make the difference in our lives, is creating these little attributes to really fill up the cracks and the and make sure we solidify our foundation, which is mindset. I mean, think about it. If you're building a house on sand, how quick is your house going to stand? Right? So if you're working on your fitness, but you're not working on your mental self, on your mindset, if you're not really focusing on healing yourself or healing wounds, or if you're not really willing to fall in love with who you are, if you're not willing to believe in yourself or trust yourself, your fitness is going to fall through, because it's going to be, well, I told you weren't going to be able to do this. And then what happens with that is we end up feeling sorry for ourselves. So we usually go to binge eating. And then when we binge eat, we fall back into the restriction cycle. When we fall into the restriction cycle, we overeat because we're starving. When we overeat, we feel like shit. We feel guilty. We call ourselves a bunch of bad names, and then we go back to restriction. And that's the cycle we need to stop. And you have to take a look at this pyramid. This is a pyramid that I created for my clients. I'm going to say like 8 years ago. This has been a foundation for a long time that I've been running my fitness stuff on. And this is something that I got to rebuild in Mexico. Okay, Alex, you can take this off the screen here. So when we're talking about the filthy truth behind wellness, that's exactly what I'm talking about, you guys. And that's the stuff that we really want to make sure that we're starting to focus on. And that's the stuff we really want to start talking about in this show. So next week, we are going to try to get, I've got 2 guests that I'm really trying to nail down right now. And those 2 guests are going to talk about fitness. I got Jordan Syatt. If you guys if you don't know who he is a great follow on Instagram. Again, his name is, I think it goes under Syatt Fitness, SYATT Fitness. And he talks the truth about nutrition and how you're putting yourself in nutrition jails. And, if you want to eat a cupcake, then eat a cupcake. Unless you're doing 75 hard, then you can't eat a cupcake. But after I'm done 75 hard, I'm going to have a plate of nachos with vegan cheese, pico de gallo, which I learned how to make in Mazatlan, and some guac all over that shit. It's going to be delicious. I'll probably feel like crap for it, but those are treats that I'll be able to allow myself again once I start to once I get out of the first or the phase 1. If you guys are looking for a challenge, if you guys are looking for something to do, if you guys really want to kickstart yourselves and you really want to start with something, 75 hard is a great place to start. You just look it up. It's Andy Frisilla 75 hard. You can download the app for like $7. It gives you a checklist. I'm doing phase 1 today first. And that's the checklist. Oops. That's the checklist that you get to do on phase 1. In the original 75 hard, you don't have to take a cold shower. That sucked today, by the way. You don't have to do 10 minutes of visualization. You don't have to do a power critical list. Yeah, there you go. That's Jordan Syatt Fitness right there. So make sure you guys are doing all that. Make sure you're following him. He's got some good shit. He's really, really good. He's funny as shit too. So I can't wait to have him on the show. He's coming on in October. So super pumped. I'm going to get Dr. Pam Popper back on here because I do want to talk about women over 40 who are starting to experience menopause. Okay, I don't know about you ladies, but I'm premenopausal. That's fun. It's fun with hot flashes. It's fun with the mood swings around that time of the month. It's fun when you have your period and then 2 weeks later you have it again. It's fun. Fun. So we're going to get her back on there. We're going to talk about menopause and fitness and women. Is that that was his website, Side Fitness? Yeah,
yes, that's his website.
He's a beast, man. He's awesome to follow. Like, he's a great follow. Stay away from things like Jillian Michaels. She's had her day in the sun, guys. If you guys want functional movements and functional fitness, she's not that. I followed her and I actually made a video on what not to do for my clients with one of her Instagrams. And if you guys are looking for, I'm trying to think, anybody from oh my goodness, the hot flashes suck. Oh God, don't they? Okay, and if you ever have hot flashes in Mexico when it's already plus 30, it's even worse. It's even worse. I remember there's this one time Tanya and I, both of us, were having hot flashes, and I can't remember if we were in Cancun or if we were in Mazatlan. And I just remember that the AC was at like 18. It was like an ice bucket in there. People would come in and be wearing sweaters and hoodies and like pants and socks in our room, and we were just dying and sweating. It was crazy. So that's kind of where we want to take the show. I also want to focus on men's health because men's health is super important, especially 40 and 50-year-old men. We are all broken at our ages. We've all had issues and injuries, and we want to make sure we're working around that. And I want to make sure that you guys have somebody that you can, ask questions to, and I can help guide you guys, getting you guys to the healthiest versions of who you are. So that's the future of the show, guys. I'm going to end it on that. Thank you so much for tuning in. It was great to be back. I'm not going to lie. Receiving a few of those text messages really made me question even wanting to do the show anymore. It really made me question what I was even doing to help people fight for what.
If you don't do a show, I don't do a show. I'd be sad. Very
We'd be sad.
sad.
We'd be all sad. I think that I got talked to a couple people, and I did talk to Tanya about it, and she's like, you need to get on there. She's like, you love it, just like you had a bad run with a couple people. She's like, don't let them dictate that. Everybody's going to have haters. Everybody's going to have lovers. Everybody's going to have people who prop you up, and they'll be the first ones to cut you down. It's just the way that it goes when you are in the limelight a little bit. But yeah, guys, I'm so happy to be back on here. I'm so happy to be bringing back the filthy truth behind fitness. I'm so happy to be able to talk about Trudeau's still the real virus. I'm still happy to be the NDP coalition of the Liberal Party. They literally backdoored everything, and this country is in big trouble. So let's control what we can control. We can control our health. We can control what we view on Instagram. We can control what we view on Facebook. I'm rarely on Facebook anymore. If you catch me on Facebook, it's to post a reel, it's to post a live, or it's me in my groups talking to a couple of people.
She's talking to me, not you. Me.
What does Shadow say? Shadow said that too, but we need you both. Yeah, Shadow is he's doing a great job with giving you guys the news. I'll give him props to be able to stick with this. My time has moved on from just all the time talking about freedom fighters and whistleblowers to talking about this.
And good for Shadow for not letting all the bullshit blog him down either.
Yep.
Like, because I know he's getting a lot of it too.
Yep. Shadow's done a fantastic job. I got to give him props. I got to give props to Todd as well. Like they've stuck it out and they've done it because of hot flashes. People are hating on me because of hot flashes. Maybe.
They're jealous. All right, guys. You're always so hot.
Yeah, so hot. If I could give you guys a few tips and a few pointers before I leave. Number 1, manage this. Follow only positive things. Don't be blind to the news. Don't be blind to what's going on, but make sure that you guys are controlling what you see on a daily. Limit this as much as you can. The other thing you want to do is if you are not drinking enough of these in the winter, I cannot believe I'm at 5 liters of water here in Winnipeg compared to the 4 liters I was in Mexico. 5 liters of water a day because of how dry it is here. Because of the snow, the cold wind, it dries your cells. Make sure to please be on top of your water. The other thing that you guys can also do is everyone who gets sick is in vitamin D deficient, especially here in Winnipeg in Canada. There's not a lot of sun. That is also something else I'm getting used to, is not seeing the sun every single day. But make sure that you're taking at least 1,000 ICUs of the vitamin Ds, guys. If you guys have vitamin D issues, make sure that you're talking to your doctor. If you guys are good with all that stuff, then make sure that you guys are at 2 vitamin C's or D's a day, 1 vitamin C, a multi, and make sure you're staying on top of your zinc. That is going to help you guys. Just those little things. And get the fuck outside and go for a walk. Oh my God. Go for a walk. I went for like in the minus 20s, came out of a plane in a hoodie and 3/4, and I was able to handle the day. So you guys who all have your winter clothes here, get outside. My Instagram account, I'm gonna write it on here real quick here. Whoop. Just saw this last minute. I was just about to get off this thing. All right. That is my that is my handle on Instagram. If you guys are also looking for free workouts and you guys just need a dumbbell, skipping rope, and maybe a wall ball or something like that, or a medicine ball, follow me on TikTok at Filthy Truth. It's easy peasy. Just do that. How much vitamin D units? 2,000. So that's 2 pills. If you guys are taking anything, if you guys need supplements and you guys want some good shit, I've got some good shit. So just make sure to hit me up and I can get you guys hooked up with some good vitamins. But don't take the Jameson brand. Like, take some good shit. Okay? Because the bad shit's just full of crap. So just get the good stuff. And then when it gets sunny outside.
What's the bottle that's white and it has all those flowers and stuff? It's not Jameson's. It's
flowers on them.
Yeah, pretty purples and greens and very, very colorful. I don't know what the brand is, but I like that brand. No.
Okay, maybe if you're taking a prenatal vitamin, Alex, I think maybe you and I need to talk because we're not going woke.
I'll find it. Hold on.
What's a good brand in my opinion? Well, because I'm affiliated with First Form, I'm going to say First Form has the best one. Maybe I could find it for you guys here real quick. Let me just pull it up here, or they're right here. They're the daily packets, and they actually like produce some really, really good stuff. I'll put this in here. They are a little bit pricier, but you guys are going to find this works amazing. And it's not cheap crap, and it's not stuff that's going to it's there you go. And it's like the really, really good stuff. Like, I'm telling you guys, this is the good stuff. And then the other product, if you guys are more interested in other things, then can you take too much vitamin D? Absolutely, you can take almost too much vitamin D. If you get in,
Spring
because
Valley.
vitamin,
fuck you, Spring Valley.
I don't know if I know that brand.
It's got purple on the bottom. I thought it was flowers, but it's got purple on the bottom.
I don't know. I don't know that brand. But yes, you can overtake vitamin D because it is not a water soluble. So make sure that you're not taking, like in the summertime when you guys are outside and you are getting your skin exposed to the sun and you guys are moving yourselves outside. Okay, I do know that one. Okay, yeah. I'm not sure that brand. I couldn't tell you about that brand. I don't really know anything about them. So I don't know.
Whatever brand she said, that's the one you do, because she's more fitness than I am.
Go to the First Form collections. They're little packages. Everything's in there. They have women's only, and they also have men's tablets as well. The men's one is great for muscle growth and stuff like that, and the women's one has a little bit more iron to help us ladies during that time of the month. So make sure you guys are taking the good shit, and make sure you guys are pumping your full good shit. So that's where I would start off with. Really, really good vitamins. Don't cheap out on your vitamins because they will fail you if you're just buying the crap. Drink more water. Go outside for a walk. 45 minutes a day. Walk 22 minutes out one way, 22 minutes back the other way. You're at your 44 minutes. If you do 30 seconds further, you can do 22:30 and then 22:30 back, and you guys will make it in that 45 minutes. I'm telling you guys, it's going to be so amazing for you guys. Your mental health will change like mad crazy. What did your kids do for school in Mexico? We literally did everything homeschooling. So we had a IXL program, which is recommended by the Manitoba Homeschooling Association. So we went on there. They did their math and their English. My son finished biology. My daughter finished her science course. They both finished English in Mexico. So now they're on their other 2 credits. And then they are going on to world history starting in the month of April. It's gonna be crazy. But yeah, so they did all the homeschooling in Mexico, and we literally kept them on a schedule. So no matter what, all the kids had to be downstairs with their books or their computers by 9 a.m. And I kept that tradition going here too. I work here in my office, my bedroom office. My kids come in here, they do their school work from here. I do my work here. And then we do 2 hours in the morning, we do 2 hours in the afternoon. They do exercise every single day as well. And they also are going to start learning a little bit more about health, because that is also another unit that they are taking in the month of April as well. So
my kid is in grade 11 or not grade 11. Fuck. He's 11 years old. He's in grade 6, and they still have yet to teach sex ed. And I remember getting that at like the introductory at like grade 5. Yeah. And they still haven't covered it now in school.
There's a book you can buy, and it's a homeschooling book. And
I've already caught him looking at those images, so I think he's taken care of. But
okay,
just saying, they don't teach it in school.
It's not the okay, it's not a portal, but it is a book. It's a cartoon book, and it's meant for kids. And it's got literally everything that needs to be described. They don't hold back any punches. It just depends how comfortable you are teaching your kids about sex education. My kids were open books here, literally maybe 2 open book here. But you know what? It's really important because they're going to ask, and then when you tell them the information, they're going to be like,
too much information, Mom.
Yeah, they're
too
TMI,
much.
Mom, TMI. And then they leave, and then they don't talk to me for about an hour.
You send him to this guy because he's got such a great personality that I make every learning experience fun.
There you go. That's perfect. No, this was a great show. This was fun to come back to. Alex, thank you so much for everything that you do. That was awesome. That was great producing tonight. Everybody who was tuning in.
I do have a real job though now, so you know.
Yay!
I do have
That's
a real
awesome.
job.
I'm gonna post this here. If you guys are in, what do you do now? Talk about that while I post this
grocery.
Here.
I'm grocery. So I started like 3 weeks ago, and I might be the grocery manager in like a week. So yeah, it's going really good. But I'm gonna make sure I have Tuesdays off. Every Tuesday off. Yeah.
That's good. Well, that's good because we're gonna need you. We're gonna need you on the show. Okay, there's the handle, guys. If you guys are looking for a Facebook group page on this is mostly for moms over 44 or 40. I say 44 because I'm 44. But moms over 40.
She's
if you guys
29.
are looking for,
she's lying. She looks 29.
That's not lying.
Hey, so everybody in the comments, how old am I? How old am I? What do 22. I look?
Well, the hair today, okay, because you usually wear 2. You look like you're a kid. You look like a kid.
Okay. Everybody else, come on, comments. I want this. Let's go. I got 22 standing answer.
I think 20. Yeah, you look 22, 23 with the hair.
No, I'm way older.
What's your natural hair color?
Oh, we got one.
Which one got it right?
Yes. 32. That is correct.
Nice.
28.
Lisa said 37.
37, yeah, no, I'm like, all right, not bad. I got mistaken for a 19-year-old at work my first day.
Yeah, but
it's
you
like,
do.
Man, I've got...
yeah. It's good to have the young genes.
My dad is like 60-some, and he's battling cancer now. So, cancer ages you and stuff like that. He looks like a young Santa Claus.
Really?
Serious, like he looks good.
That's funny. That's awesome. That's good genes, though.
Yeah.
All right, we'll call it that because I know Shadows. I'm pretty sure he's still on at 8 now. I have now. Forgive me. It's been a while since I've been here. So, guys, thank you so much. First form. The link has been put in the comments, so make sure that you guys are going to get that microfactor immune boosters, guys. Those come in little packages. You take them daily, put it on subscribe, and just make sure that you guys are getting your monthly subscription of that. If you guys want to join us on our free Facebook group page, it's this way, or here, I guess, wherever you're watching. Here is What the Health Winnipeg WPG. Join that group. Ask to come in. It's a free group. Yeah, there it is right there. And you guys, I post on there daily. I put Q&As. If you guys have any questions about fitness, I put workouts, I put modifications. I show you guys how to do some vegan recipes, and I show you guys how to make food taste good and really follow into your macros.
You got me having a hot flash. I'm having a hot flash right now. Like the degrees just went like 30 degrees up in this room.
I got my podcast light is like throwing a bunch of heat on, so I am going to take my hoodie off. All right, guys, that is the filthy truth behind wellness. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. That is my trip to Mexico in a nutshell, and we will be back next Tuesday talking about more health, more fitness, and I'm going to break some real shit down for you guys because I got one call out for sure, and I was going to try to bring it in tonight's show, but I will save it for, next week. I love you guys. Have a wonderful evening. Ciao for now, guys. We'll talk to you later.